Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel for another unboxing video. This time I'm taking a look at Resident Evil 3, the board game. Now I know that this game has been out for a couple of years now. It's developed or made by Steamforged Games, who are doing the Elden Ring board game Kickstarter. And if you haven't seen my video about that, you can go and check that in the corner. I've got a few videos, hopefully by now, for that. Anyway, this game, like I said, has been out for a few years, so I know it's an old one to do an unboxing for. But, you know, I'm slowly getting into the long-term board game play. I've been a Warhammer player for over 20 years now, and I play the occasional board game. I've got some Dark Souls, as well as some Dungeons and Dragons board games. But yeah, I want you to have a look at Resident Evil 3. They've got Resident Evil coming out next year, 2023. I'm not sure exactly when. I did miss the Kickstarter for that. Totally gutted. But never mind. I'll just have to get the retail version. Now, there are expansions for this. I don't have the expansions yet. I've just gone for the main game. But yeah, let's take a look inside. So, first of all, we've got this game contains scenes of explicit gore and violence. So obviously that's the loading screen for the Resident Evil game, and that plays as the map, or the areas that you can unlock and discover. Now, I've watched a few playthrough videos on this, but I'm not entirely sure on what everything does as of yet. So we're just going to have a look at the what we get in this box, and then as I learn to play the game, hopefully I can do some playthrough videos and we'll play through the campaign and have a look at that. So we've got some areas here. Now, as I understand it, we have these areas and we need to find items to unlock these other areas and discover them and things like that. I'm not entirely sure what we need. But obviously that will be in the game. This is the game map that you play with. So we've got our alert status kind of thing here, and as you progress through the game, this goes up and up and up, and obviously the more, or the closer to red it is, the higher up, the more happens within the game in terms of enemies and things that you unlock and stuff like that. And then I assume this is where you would put your A, B and C decks for items that you can find within the game. So moving on, we've got Resident Evil 3 board game, the expansions. So you can see here we've got the City of Ruin, the Last Escape, and I think there is one more. But yeah, these are pretty much the two that I'll be going for, and I think one is based in the sewers. I think it's this one. Yeah, this one is based in the sewers, and then this one is more about the survivors. But we do get, extra cards, tiles, rule books and stuff like that for these expansions. So I'll play through this and then hopefully move on to an expansion at a time. So we've got two booklets here. So we've got the rule book and the scenario book. So as we play through the game, obviously you would flick through this, go through the campaign, and obviously this explains how to do it all, and then you would load up, or you would lay out the map as it is on the map side, and then do what you need to do to complete that mission. And then obviously you've got different areas that you move through. So the RPD courtyard, we've got the police station, and so on. So yeah, that's the scenario booklet, and then obviously we have the rule books, or rule book, that explains all the miniatures. We've got 15 zombies, a couple of Drain Deimos, 4 zombie dogs, Nemesis at stage 1 and Nemesis at stage 2, and a Gravedigger. Now I'm gutted I missed out on the Kickstarter for this one as well, because I believe they had a Kickstarter exclusive, which was Nemesis stage 3. Unless he's one of the expansions, and if he's the expansion, I'll be grabbing that. But I think Stage 3 Nemesis was a Kickstarter exclusive. Then we've got some dice, encounter dice, attack dice and such, some dials and everything else. Obviously that's all in here, we'll take a look at that in a sec. Then we have the character profile, so this obviously explains how your character cards, depend on what you choose, this is how their profile works, their equipment and everything that you would have for your character. We have item cards, tiles, and how an area on a tile works, and how you will move one square at a time, how enemies and monsters and that fit on the tiles. We have the enemy reference cards, so obviously it goes through what they do to attack. This can be played single player. It is a 1 to 4 player game. I think this does come with the four character model, so it's a 1 to 4 player game. And the reason you can play it on your own or solo is because the way that the monsters move are all determined by their cards, and any other cards that you draw activates monsters and such. Obviously all of that is the rules, and we'll go through that in the playthrough videos. And then obviously you've got the basics about how to move and scenarios. I think that is, yes, this one is actually a training scenario just to get you used to the rules and such. And then we've got the card decks that you make up playing the demo. Additional game rules, so this is stuff that will come after that. Terrain elements, we've got corpses, item boxes, archways, barricades and things like that. Another thing with the Kickstarter is they did a terrain set, and again I don't know if you can buy this separate, but it had 3D terrain in there for some of the things like the barricades, the doors, the walls. I think they had corpses, item boxes, possibly barrels. But what I'm going to do is 3D print some. I've got a 3D printer, so I'm going to print some stand-in things, find some generic doors and stuff like that, print them up, paint them, and play through with that. And then obviously we've got the health tracking for the enemies and such, and then the city danger level. That's what I was talking about with the bar here. So the more dangerous it gets, the more things that you do that's on a card. And then we've got a nice little map of Raccoon City there, and then playing the game, setting up and everything else. Advanced rules through the campaign, ink ribbons and typewriters. So you can, I think the ink ribbons, as I understand it, you need an ink ribbon to use the typewriter, and the typewriter you spend an action and shuffle the tension deck and discard piles together. So each mission has a deck of tension cards, and as you draw one you discard it, do what it says and then discard it. If that tension deck runs out, I believe it is game over, you failed the mission. The typewriters allow you to shuffle all that back in and start with a fresh tension deck. So if you feel like you're running low, then use a typewriter. As you know from the game, is basically where you would save, and so it's a similar kind of thing here. It's like a respawn point, but just reshuffling the cards instead. And then we've got narrative events, Nemesis, obviously chasing us through the streets in some of the missions. And then here, alternative play mode. So we've got easy mode, solo play mode, and standalone mode. I would have thought they would both be the same, but I'm assuming solo would be if you use one miniature or one character, and standalone is designed with campaign play in mind. Each scenario can be played as a standalone gameplay. Okay, so standalone is if you want to play just a random thing at a time. So we'll probably do the solo play mode. I'll have a read through and see what easy mode does, and that'll be that. And then on the back we've got a nice little quick reference sheet there. So these tiles are printed on nice, thick, heavy cardstock, and I believe, yes, they are double-sided, which is awesome. Nice little details and scenery on them, and then obviously we've got just a nice little faint white line, just enough to not obscure the detail, but enough to mark out where each movement point is. And then we've got some pop-out hazard tiles and stuff like that. We've got some stairs here, So yeah, we've got 1, 2 of those. Now they are both the same shape runes, but the designs on them are different. And then obviously you've got the back, so again the designs are different. And this one actually is interesting. You can see here we've got a full grid, but if we flip it over, you can't go through. This black with the red outline is actually a wall, so there would be a wall there, and you would have to go around, which is a nice little thing there. So that's that one, and then another one, and yeah, they are all the same. So you get your big square, your L shape, your 2x3, your 2x2, and then your 2x2 with a long. And then yeah, that one's whole. Same again. And then we've got some tokens and counters and stuff. So obviously here we've got our weapon or gun ammo counters. So you have to assemble these yourself. There's little clips and stuff in here that you push through, and you pop that out and it will highlight a number. And each time you use a shot, so you shoot a zombie or a dog or whatever, you adjust dial, and then when you're out of ammo, that's it, until you find more ammo to reload. Then we've got our health dials here, and they are on both sides. I like that. There's a lot more damaged on that side, or you've got the nice clean version. And then we've got some doors. Now these, I believe, are item tiles. So this would be A deck items, then you've got B deck and C deck. But yeah, these are nice. Not sure what the blood splat tokens are, but obviously I'll look that up. And then we've got the ink ribbon. You just give one of these to a player so they remember that they've got one. And then this looks like a duplicate, but we've got handgun ammo here. So we've got 4 handguns, because obviously 4 players, each player has a handgun. Magnum, because you can upgrade it. Then we've got 2 grenade launchers on the other one, 2 shotguns, and an assault rifle. So obviously if you're playing more than one player, then you'll have to share equipment and make sure that certain people pick up certain weapons depending on what they want, because obviously you only got 2 shotguns and you can't all have shotguns. Right, then we've got, these are fire tokens, I believe, so these will represent fire spreading throughout the rooms and stuff. I'm not sure what this one would be. Umbrella sign, it's not a health token, maybe some sort of timer for something, a turn counter or something. Obviously we'll have a look at that. And then here, if we can get this out, we have the minis. Now this box has been designed great, because you can see here we've got some empty spaces, and that's where our tokens will go. So they'll actually fit nicely in this once we've popped them all out. And then obviously the board pieces will just go down on top. And we've even got a space for each miniature to sit in there nicely. And then we've got the 2 Nemesis here. So see if we can get this to focus in. I know it's obviously... can we do that? Continuous focus? No. Yeah, so nice plastic models from Steamforged Games. They do nice detail on their models. This is a firmer plastic. I have had them, some of their older stuff, where it was a bit of a softer plastic, and that tended to sort of bend a little bit. But these are nice, solid, strong plastic. It is the more brittle stuff. It's not like Games Workshop's plastic, but it does hold nice details. So can't wait to get painting these. And then we've got stage 1 Nemesis there with his rocket launcher. And then we've got obviously all the zombies here. I won't pull them all out, but we've got the zombies. We'll have a look at the heroes. Now I don't know if these are any specific heroes. I know that Jill Valentine is in here. I don't know if we've got Chris Redfield. I think he was in the game with her. So yeah, you can see here the plastic, the thinnest parts tend to bend a little bit, but just push them back up in there, fine. But they are great models. And then we've got There's Jill Valentine. Obviously we'll paint her in our iconic blue and grey, or blue and black clothing. And then we've got this dude. Not sure who he is, but again, we'll have a look. We've got this dude. And then what have we got here? Some of the dogs, the zombie dogs. And oh, there you go. It's got a nice little. There you go. So nice and secure in there. There's a bit of a bump there. So you push it down, pop everything else out. So yeah, that one keeps him in there nicely, so he doesn't go flying around. And yeah, that's one of the worm things, which is pretty cool. So we've got a couple of decks of cards here. So these are the, I assume these are just all for the area cards. So we've got equipment cards as well in there. I'm not going to open them all and go through them all. That will just be a little bit boring. We are going to obviously be playing. Right there. That was that way, wasn't it? We are going to be playing the game, so that will be there. Then we've got. This would be our encounter deck, I think they called it. So yeah, this would obviously be what we draw from as you play through the game. And then we've got some dice here, which are used for shooting and dodging. Movement is determined by the character and how far you can move. I'm not sure what the D6 is for. That's cool that the 1 or the 6, it should be the 1. Yeah, so the 1 is umbrella. And then here we've just got our pegs and pins, which make up the dials. So yeah, looks like a great game to play. Like I said, the Steamforged Games released Resident Evil 2, the board game first. Then I think in 2019 they released Resident Evil 3, and next year we've got Resident Evil being released. I think the reason they did that was obviously Resident Evil 2 was remade at the time, the game. So they did that one. Resident Evil 3 was remade, and then Resident Evil, obviously, we need it. So that's now coming out. Which, again, I can't wait to get that one because it's in the mansion, and, you know, that was a nice, fun, internal area. If I can get number 2, I will. But I feel like if they've made number 3, it seems that there are rules changes and the way the game is played, and it may feel a little bit backwards to go to Resident Evil 2. I know that they claim that they improved on the rules and the whole gameplay system for Resident Evil 3, and then Resident Evil 1 improves yet again. So I'll probably just stick to Resident Evil 3 and its expansions, and then as soon as Resident Evil 2 is available, I will go out and grab that, and then we can play through that campaign as well. I'm not sure the exact release date. I know that it is sometime in the first half of next year. I think the Kickstarter, they get shipped out in March. I think it's March or May, I can't remember. So it shouldn't be too long after that that it will go retail. Hopefully, anyway. Hopefully it won't be too long. And then, yeah, you can do that one. So I do recommend taking a look if you're interested and grabbing yourself a copy of this, because I think once Resident Evil, the board game, is fully released, the production of this is likely to be slowed down, and it is going to be harder to get a copy of. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, as always, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe for further videos, and obviously you'll get notifications of when other videos go live. I am going to be playing through the campaign and doing videos for that. Hopefully I can fit it on my recording area here. But yes, I will play through the campaign, and you guys can sort of watch and play through that with me, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. But yeah, as for the channel, we're going slightly away from 40k and Games Workshop products. We're still doing them, obviously, still doing Imperium, and I'll do models that I like to buy every now and then for that. You know, large sets and stuff like that. But I'm going to start focusing more on board games and sort of other franchises and brands that have miniatures. I'm not a huge fan of card-based games only. I prefer with miniatures that you're moving around the board and stuff like that. So if that's the kind of thing you want to see, definitely hit that subscribe button. Let me know down in the comments if you have any recommendations for games featuring miniatures, especially ones that can be played solo. I don't have any friends that are into board games. I have my young son, he likes to play them, so he may feature in a few videos, but ideally games that can be played solo or have some sort of solo element to them would be great. So if you guys have anything you would like me to have a look and review, drop it down in the comments. But until next time, guys, thank you ever so much for joining me. To those of you who have recently subscribed, a huge warm welcome to the inner circle. But as always, remember to take it easy and keep painting those minis.